Hey guys, I hope you're all well. Today we're going to discuss our tutorial 6, which is based on labor market framework, And in our labor market framework, the first question says, based on the labor market issues, discuss the following concepts. The first concept is natural rate of unemployment. This is the unemployment such that the real wage in wage setting should be equal to the real wage in price setting. Okay, like in this process of wage and price determination, if at the point whereby the real wage in this curve of wage determination and the real wage in the price setting or price determination is equal, then the unemployment rate that is going to be linked to that equilibrium, we'll call it natural unemployment rate, right? Or in other words, we can define natural unemployment rate has a combination of frictional, cyclical, and structural unemployment, right? Why? Because we always have people who are going to be unemployed due to the labor market turnovers. The labor market turnovers basically allows for movement in and out of the labor force in the labor market. So this portion of people that we will always capture or will always have due to this labor market turnover, we will basically consider it as natural rate of unemployment. There is something else that we can stress here is that depending on the economy or even the health economies around the world, they will always have this unemployment rate or this natural unemployment rate, because they also have these turnovers. All right, so it does not really matter the level of economy or how big or small the economy is. Once it's there, it's going to have always a certain a rate of natural unemployment, right? So, and something else is that, which is interesting, is that the central banks, in case of, for example, South Africa, the Reserve Bank, they always use this natural unemployment rate as a reference for them to target or to know which level of unemployment rate is acceptable. All right, as for example, this is one of the macroeconomic problems, so they need to use it. It has a benchmark to fight unemployment. According to the literature, we can even say that this unemployment rate, it depends or it varies according to the economy. There are economies that they can have, for example, 3.5, or depending on how big or small the economy is, the natural unemployment should be, can be also 4.5. All right, so the concept B asks us to discuss frictional, cyclical, and structural unemployment. Very good. There is difference between all of these types of unemployment. All right, let's suppose, for example, that we have people who are working, all right, and all of a sudden they don't like, or they get unsatisfied by their wage, the way that they are earning at the end of the day. What basically they do, they just try to change the job, from job 1 or job A to job B, or from job B to job C. If in this period of time that they will be changing the job, or from job A to job B, if we measure unemployment and we capture them, we will call them unemployed. However, they are not at all unemployed. They are just unemployed for that moment, and this we call it frictional unemployment. The other example that we can use, apart from moving from one job to another, is the position. For example, someone might be based at a certain firm and luckily gets, let's say, a promotion from move from position A to a position B, that person might need the time to prepare him or herself to the change, all right, or to the appointment, or to the to this promotion, all right. So if all of a sudden we measure unemployment while that person has not yet gotten back to assume the new position, that person will be unemployed. However, will not at all unemployed, it will be just frictionally unemployed, all right. So this, we call it frictional unemployment rate, which is linked to this the small period in which the person is unemployed due to change of a job or a position. Then we have cyclical unemployment rate. We know that the economy does not really have only one pattern. It can change over time, all right, in such a way that we can have a recession and we can have, for example, an expansion, all right. Let me just give this example. If we are going through a recession, all right, we are going to see firms like the productivity going down. If the firm's productivity is going down, the output or the national production, it is also going down. If it goes down, that means the capability or the capacity of the firm to hire people is going to be less, all right. If this is less, and in terms of the firms or companies' liquidity is down, they are going to let's say employ some sort of strategies. For example, one of the strategies to respond to this recession is laying off people, all right. If they start laying off people, that means the unemployment rate, it is going to increase, all right. So due to this recession, or due to this economy cycle, all right, we will have a certain people or a certain portion of people that will be unemployed. And so this unemployment, we call it cyclical unemployment rate. Or on the other hand, we can have, for example, let's say an expansion, all right. If we are going through an expansion, like opposite from what happened to a recession is going to happen. The economy is going to be growing, productivity growing, output, and so on and so forth. So they are going to they're going to demand for more labor, and they're going to be hiring people. So that means we might have a portion of people that are unemployed due to the recession cycle, but on the other hand, like in a certain period of time, these people might be once again hired due to an expansion of the same economy. So here we have a cyclical unemployment. On the other hand, we have this, what we call structural unemployment rate. The structural unemployment rate is basically different from those that we have already spoken about, the two of them, right? Frictional and cyclical, in such a way that it basically it is due to the structural change of the economy. All right, let's suppose that the economy is labor intensive today, and all of a sudden it changes from labor intensive to capital intensive. That means it's going to be preferable machinery more than human capital. All right, if this happens, that means we will be having a structural unemployment, which is the one due or caused by the change in the structure of the economy. A good example nowadays is the fourth industrial revolution. All right, the fourth industrial revolution, we have it or going through it, or at least we have science for that. You know, what does this mean? It means that people who are doing jobs, all right, that machines can do, they are more likely to be replaced by machines. If they are being replaced by machines, they are going for unemployment, or they are getting unemployed. If they get unemployed due to this change, all right, or due to this preference for machinery or machines rather than human capital, these people will be considered as unemployed due to the structural change. So this kind of unemployment, we call it structural unemployment rate. All right. So moving forward, we have the second one, which is the reservation wage. Reservation wage. The reservation wage is the wage that it makes a certain employee or a certain worker or a certain individual pay indifferent from getting a job or enjoying the leisure. What does this mean? It means that if the trade-off between leisure and working or getting a job is equal to zero, that means the wage market or the wage that is being paid by the market or the labor market is not or is equal or less to the reservation wage. In other words, reservation wage is the one that the person or the worker is expecting to be paid. If, for example, we propose, let's suppose we offer a wage that is less than what a certain individual is expecting to be paid, that person is supposed to, is more likely to prefer being at home without working. Okay. But something interesting that happens in the real life is that it appears though that the labor market or the wage equilibrium is higher than the reservation wage. The way in which we can see that is that people are every single day they are seeking for a job, all right? They are supplying the labor. If they supply the labor, this is the sign that shows that the reservation wage is less than the wage that is being paid in the labor market. Okay, so this is the reservation wage. Going forward, we have here D. It asks us to discuss nominal versus real wage. Very good. Something interesting is that the same way we have really GDP and nominal GDP, also we have nominal wage and the real wage. We can define nominal wage as the one that you are just getting paid for it, or you are just getting it paid. You know, what does this mean? It means that, for example, you have some work done, or you were working for a certain firm or individual or economic agent, and you get paid because you got some work done. But then if you take the same wage that you got paid and you go to the goods and services market for you to get some basket of goods, you cannot afford in getting as much as you need or you want. Okay, if that wage cannot make you getting what you are looking for in the goods and services market in terms of the commodities, that means that wage is not real, is nominal wage. In other words, the nominal wage is the one that is not adjusted for inflation. It's not adjusted for the changes in the price over time. Okay, and versus if we, for example, look at the real wage, we can see that does not really matter how much you get paid, as long as you succeed or you afford in buying a basket of goods, or you afford in getting what you really want, okay, from the goods and services market altogether. So this is the difference between nominal and real wage, or in other words, we can just say that real wage is adjusted for the changes of the price over time, and or it is basically adjusted for inflation. All right, that means if the prices are increasing over time, the wage is more likely also to increase over time. It might not even increase as the same rate as the price it is increasing, but then it is also following this pattern or this standard. All right, so this is the difference between the real wage and nominal wage. Very good. Moving forward, we have here question 2. It says, assuming a perfectly competitive labor market with the appropriate graph or diagram, show how can the wage setting relation equilibrium position be reached. I will just write here wage setting relation. equilibrium. Very good. Wage setting relation equilibrium. Very good. So the same we said when we're talking about the natural rate of unemployment. We'll some sort of repeating a bit here. All right. How? We will say that we are going to reach equilibrium point or wage setting equilibrium when the real wage which is chosen in the wage setting, all right, it is equal to the real wage in the price setting. If this happens, that point we call it wage setting relation equilibrium. Let me just show this graphically. Very good. I will just draw here. Let's leave some space. Very good. Oh God. Then okay, I don't know why this is like this. It's fine. Not good at drawing, but at least we can see. Okay, I will call this price setting, and I will call this wage setting. I will just label it. Okay, this obviously is going to be unemployment, and we can just do this. It's going to be called unemployment. This is going to be price setting. There's going to be wage setting. The attention maybe I can call here is this is the price setting relation. This is the wage setting relation. This I will call it real wage. Which is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus m. Is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus m. Very good. So okay, I'll just say that this is point A, the equilibrium A. Okay, maybe I can just show here the like the unemployment rate, the equilibrium unemployment rate. The equilibrium unemployment rate. Very good. Just label this. I can just do this. Very good. I'll just do this. Is the equilibrium unemployment rate. Okay, so this point here, this point A, we call it wage setting relation equilibrium. Is the point whereby the real wage in wage setting relation, it is equal to the real wage, or like let me say that the chosen real wage here in this curve, which is the wage setting relation, it should be equal to the real wage here. All right, we implied by the price setting. Okay, so this is the equilibrium that we can have in the wage setting relation. Very good. So moving a little bit forward, we have here question 3, which says, maybe I can just do this. Very good. I will just do this. Maybe I can just separate this. Can just separate this. Okay. It says question 3. I'll just write it. Question 3. It says, with appropriate graph, show and explain the effect of the following factors on labor market equilibrium. The effect, or explain the effects of the following factors. I'm assuming that we know that we are talking about the labor market, so there's no real need to write the labor market. And the first one is a decrease in unemployment benefits. Maybe the first thing that we can stress here is that when we are talking about unemployment benefits, we are talking about basically this insurance that the government gives when it realizes that there are people who are unemployed and they cannot afford in getting a basket of goods and services or commodities. All right. So in order for them to, for the government to make them afford in buying these kinds of commodities, basically they give them some unemployment insurance. All right. So this unemployment insurance, on the one hand, it can determine whether the person is being encouraged to work or not. In what way? In a sense that if, for example, if the person is working or gets a job, is going to get, let's suppose 1,000 rands, all right, and he just analyzed that if I'm not working, the government gives me like the same 1,000 rand. Or what's going to happen is that this unemployment benefit, this unemployment insurance, is going to make that person discouraged from seeking for a job. Okay, so let's show this graphically. I'll just once again through. I will show here, but it's fine. I will draw it from here. I will draw it from here. Very good. Very good. Okay, so I will call this price setting. I will call this wage setting. I will call this wage setting. Very good. I'll just label it before anything. This is the wage setting. This is the price setting. Of course, this is the unemployment. This is the real wage. Real wage, which is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus m. 1 divided by 1 plus m. Very good. And okay, here we okay. Maybe I can just show the first equilibrium before the change. Very good. I will call this point A. This is unemployment, like equilibrium unemployment. Okay, so here we are. We are analyzing a decrease in unemployment benefits. If the unemployment benefits is decreasing, that means the consequence of being unemployed is going to be more painful. Okay, like for example, you are sitting at home, your benefit or your unemployment insurance is decreasing, you will feel like, okay, it's fine, I don't have this, but then if I was working, maybe I will get some wages and I will go and buy. And this leads to a shift of wage setting down or to the left. I'll just show the shift down or to the left. Okay, I will show the new equilibrium rate. Very good. I will label this. I will say that this is equilibrium 1, the new equilibrium. This is going to be unemployment 1. This is going to be wage setting 1. Very good. So maybe I can just show here the movement using the arrows, just to show that this is a decrease due to a decrease in unemployment benefits. All right, very good. I want to stress that here there is no, let's say, there is no surprise in terms of the relationship. We have already assumed before that the wage setting relationship is it analyzes how does real wage and the unemployment, both of them behave, in terms of their relationship. And we have already assumed that this is an inverse relationship. If it is an inverse relationship, that means if the unemployment is high, the real wage is going to be less, and so on and so forth. But then in this case, we're not going to analyze the real wage, because as we can see, okay, the economy is going to be moving along price setting curve until it reaches the new equilibrium. So this is the equilibrium due to the decrease in unemployment benefits. All right, very good. Maybe I can clean this and open another blackboard. Very good. So we are still analyzing question 3. I'll just rewrite. Explain the effect of the following factors. Very good. And now is B. An increase in markup. First, we need to know that we call markup the price or the cost that the firm has to pay. All right, I mean, this is the price that in price setting. All right, in price setting or in price determination, it always taken into account this markup, because they need to know how much are they going to pay in terms of wages, so that they can set their price. Okay, so it is always important. If the cost in terms of markup is high, that means the real wage should be, in this case, less. All right, or vice versa. Let me just show this graphically. I will draw. Very good. Very good. I will call this price setting, and I will call this wage setting. I will just label them. wage setting, price setting, unemployment. This is the real wage, which is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus m. Should be divided by 1 plus m. Very good. So what we are saying is that let me just show the equilibrium, the first equilibrium. I'll call this point A. Very good. So what we're basically saying is that an increase in markup is going to change this denominator. In other words, this denominator is going to be bigger. You know, if this is bigger, the real wage, like the initial real wage, is going to be basically led to a decrease. Okay, it's going to decrease the real wage. So if this is decreasing the real wage, we know that the price setting also depends on the real wage. So this is going to cause a shift of price setting down. You know, let me just show this graphically. The price setting is going to be to decrease or to shift down, and we will have let me just label this price setting, call it price setting 1. Let me show the new equilibrium rate. I will call this equilibrium 1, E1, because it's the new equilibrium. Sorry, I have to write here that this is the unemployment, like the equilibrium unemployment rate, and this I will call it unemployment 1. I will just show that here there is an increase of unemployment due to a decrease of due to an increase in markup. We can just do this, and I can just do this. Very good. So this is basically what happens when the markup increases. Maybe I can just even write the new real wage so that we see. I will call this real wage 1. It just went to the graph, which is also equal to 1 divided by 1 plus m. 1 plus m. Very good. I mean, this is not at 0. It was supposed to be. So let's consider the real wage, the written one, rather than the formula, right? So this is what basically happens when the markup increases. Okay, if the cost increases, they are going to decrease their real wage because it increased, you know. So this is what basically happens. Now we'll move to C. Which says now it's a decrease in markup. Okay, basically the same explanation holds here. Why does it hold? Because the variable that we are analyzing is the same. If the variable that we are analyzing is the same, the only difference that is going to occur is the shift, all right, in the price setting, or is the effect on the real wage. So I will just show here how does it look like. I will just show you how does it look like. Very good. Very good. I will call this price setting, and I will call this wage setting. I will just label it. Always we need to label it, because if you don't label it, we don't know what are you talking about. So we always have to label this: wage setting, price setting, and this is the real wage, which is equal to 1 divided by y1 plus m divided by 1 plus m. Very good. So it says a decrease in markup. If it's decreasing markup, this obviously is going to be the other way around, you know. So the denominator is going to be smaller than the previous one. So this does mean that the real wage is going to increase. If the real wage is increasing, we are going to have here a shift. This, like the price setting is going to shift up. Let's suppose it's here. Oh, okay, I did not show the first equilibrium, sorry. Just to make sure that we know how to control this. Let me just take an opportunity and draw it just once. Very good. I will call this U, since it's the unemployment rate of equilibrium. This is going to be U1. Okay. This is going to be equilibrium A. This is A1 because the new equilibrium, right? I'll call this price setting 1. What else? Okay, very good. I will call this really wage 1, which is also equal to 1 divided by 1 plus m is also equal to 1 divided by 1 plus m. Very good. So this is what basically happens. Maybe we can still show using the arrows what is the effect, but it can be basically seen that the unemployment rate is going to decrease due to a decrease in markup. Something interesting is that there is no surprise as well here. I said last time that we have, an assumption that states that real wage and unemployment rate, they have like inverse relationship. So since the real wage is going to increase due to a decrease in markup, that means the unemployment rate obviously is going to decrease. Okay, so this is what basically happens when we are talking about changes in the labor market, changes in the labor market. Okay, having said so, let's go for question 4, which is the last one. Question 4, it says, discuss the possible ways in which the trade unions can attempt to increase the wage rate. I will just say the ways in which the trade unions increase wage rate. Very good. There are several ways in which the trade unions can basically attempt to increase wage rate. The first one can call it restriction of labor market supply. What does this mean? It means that if the labor supply is restricted, all right, the equilibrium in terms of the wage in the labor market is going to be messed up. It's going to be, it's not good. I mean, we are going to have some sort of disequilibrium. Okay, so to offset this, the firms, they will need to adjust for this new equilibrium, and then the wage rate can, in this case, increase. And maybe I can just say, right, one, labor market restriction or labor supply restriction. Labor supply restriction. Very good. The second one, it can be, for example, we have bargaining power. All right. If the trade unions, all of them, they come together and say, let's try and by the whole means increase the wage rate in the labor market. If all of a sudden they succeed in increasing the wage rate by the, let's suppose, the bargaining power, what is going to happen is that they will also have a disequilibrium in the labor market. So once again, the firms, they will need to adjust to the new equilibrium, and hence the wage is going to increase. I will just say here bargaining power. Okay, wage increased due to the need of trade unions or bargaining power. We can just call it bargaining power. Okay, the third one is when there is an increase in demand for the products from the industry. If, for example, the demand on the demand side, as a consumers, increases, what's going to happen is that the firms are going to be under pressure. They will need to produce more and more and more. For them to produce more and more and more, they will need to increase their labor. The need of increasing the labor, that means it's going to lead this to an increase in labor demand. All right, and if it increases labor demand, we're going to have some sort of disequilibrium in terms of labor demand and labor supply. All right, if the labor demand is greater than labor supply, they will need to increase the wages in order for them to attract as many people as possible, or as much labor supply as possible. And for them to do so, they will need to increase the wage. So we can just say here an increase in demand for industrial goods. Very good. Thank you. Did you like the video? That's good. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. Email us on santosnecasbila@gmail.com. And thank you. See you in the next video. Bye bye.